Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been a while since I made a video, but today we're going to get into a cool project on the car. So we're going to be working on the interior of the car actually. What we're going to be doing in today's video is replacing the carpet because it is all kinds of jacked up and cut wrong. Replacing the shifter boot and seat belts. These seat belts need addressed badly. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like the video. I appreciate it. Now, like I mentioned, we're going to be putting the seat belts in the car, and the rears are what I'm going to be addressing first because that's actually going to be the biggest project. You wonder why? Well, let me tell you why. I have to add the rear seat belt brackets. Why? Well, the original owner who bought this car was actually going to turn it into a drag car, race car project. So he had actually did a mini tub on the car. So he had to cut out the inner fenders, the inner wheel wells, to basically do a mini tub job, right? And the guy I bought the car from, he would replace those inner wheel tubs with stock wheel tubs. But so anyway, it's all good. It all looks new. But when you replace your wheel tubs, the inners, that's where your seatbelt brackets are, and they don't come with them, so you have to put them on. He didn't put them on, so I'm going to do it now. Now, what I ran into is, let me put the camera down. Problem I ran into is these brackets look good. These are the AMD rear seat belt brackets you weld onto your wheelhouse, but should be 7/16 20 thread, and guess what? These things are coarse thread. Talked to the guys at AMD about it. This is how they make them. They were surprised to hear it, so they're going to change it supposedly the next time they start manufacturing on these, but it's going to be a while. They can't do anything about it. Here's the OE bolt. I've already ran a die set on these, got them cleaned up. So, but obviously no worky there. So what I did, just bought some 7/16 20 nuts. I'm going to take the old cutoff wheel, hack these off, and then I'm going to weld these on basically. So don't have a whole lot of choice there, but the best I can do. So that's my biggest project now. So like I said, I've already ground these down so I can weld on them. And I'm going to get the cutoff wheel, cut these off, and weld them on. I'm going to hold my bracket with my vice grips, just get a good grip on it, and go to town. Make sure we use some eye protection. Let's cut it off. Alright, well, we got that done. That was a success. Took a little bit of work, but I was able to get that big weldment stud or boss cut off with the cutoff wheel. So anyway, that's pretty good. I'm not going to touch it. It's going to be hot, but I'll come back in with sanding disc, get that nice and smooth, get everything prepped, and weld that on there, right? So that should work out good. So I'm going to do the other one and then get them welded on. Alright, now just want to warn you, if you're like a professional welder, seasoned professional, you might want to close your eyes. It's not pretty. No, but in all seriousness, I'm no great welder for sure, right? But I could have phoned a friend, but I wanted to do it myself. Some really good penetration, get some good heat coming through, and they're not going to go anywhere. You'll never see the back side of this feature. It's going to weld in the car as such. But check it out. Here's your unique bolt. Now, some of you, if you've never seen these bolts before, you might say, "Hey, why don't you just use a coarse thread bolt? Just be fine." Well, your seatbelt bolts are pretty unique. It's a shouldered bolt, so a little tip. But yeah, check it out. No problem there. That's what you need. That's what I was looking for, right? Just try to get something functional, something that's going to have plenty of weld, that's going to be safe and secure as well, because these are seatbelts are pretty important. There's like a lot of weld down there. Not all of them are great and pretty, but that's for sure. But it's gonna work. All right, so started pulling the interior out, and have the front rear seats out right now, and you can just see all the old backing material from the seats just falling apart in here. And anyway, so the front seats, or the front seat belts, only had like one receiver, one buckle for each of the fronts, and one of them didn't even work. Should have two of these, right, for each seat, for the lap belt and the shoulder belts. So you can see the wheelhouses don't have the anchors for the rear seat belt, so I need to add those in. So I need to get out the rear panels, get the crank arms off. I'm just gonna take all of this stuff out in the seats. Might as well do it right now, and you can just see how bad this mess was. Like, gosh, totally jacked up. So get the carpet out, and then I can finish figuring out where I'm gonna put my new anchors and get those all dialed in. Alright, so I got everything free now. I got all the little panels off, sill plates off, shifter boot. And I'm just probably gonna vacuum this up actually real quick before I pull out the carpeting, just because even though it was kind of butchered, I kind of want to keep it around just for a template. If anything of what not to do, God, it's a mess. But yeah, this was completely butchered, man. Look at this craziness. Anyway, I was looking at some pictures online and also my service manual, exactly where these brackets are going to go, somewhere basically as such. So I'm gonna do a few double checks, make sure everything clears, like the plastic interior trim, before I tack these and weld these on. But that's basically what we're looking at, right? It should be right in there. All right, cool. All right, so I just double checked the mounting tab location where I wanted them, made sure we had plenty of clearance with the inner door panel trim. So I'm just going to scribe out the holes on the wheelhouses on both sides, and then I'm going to get to welding them up. So coming along, should be pretty good. Should be pretty simple. They fit pretty well, so we have a pretty good flush fit with the weld hose, and I'm just going to weld those up and grind off the paint, and it should be good. Alright, I just got these all cleaned up, held in place with some tape. I'm just going to try to get a couple of tacks in, and then just work the sheet metal, get it all nice and smooth, and finish welding it. So let's give it a crack. Alright, that's a good one there. Perfect. Come over here. Not the best one, but that'll do. Alright. Remove the tape. Get that stuff out of the way. You know, when I was welding the nut to the back side, you know, the more I thought about it, I think what gave me the most problem is, one, well, I suck at welding, but number two is just the big difference of metal thicknesses, right? Because I've done a decent amount of sheet metal work, you know, and just tacking sheet metal together, and that's one thing. But with, you know, that big thick nut, I think for me, you know, TIG welding would have been the right application, although I can't TIG either, so I'm just doing the best I can. I guess I'm just trying to find excuses. So All right, let's just try to get the rest of this thing worked in here. So I tried to fill in that hole and half of it. All right, so the brackets are all welded in, and I just finished scuffing them up, cleaning up the welds a little bit. Don't look too long, but there they are. Put some primer and some red paint on there, blended it in. So the interior is all pretty much ready now to get the carpet in. So now we're ready to put the carpet in the car. Here's a list of tools I'll be using, kind of in order of importance. We have some heavy-duty scissors, a really sharp box cutter, a scribe tool you'll use to punch through some of the carpeting to find holes. Now these are a little more optional if you have them. This is going to be like a little wood burning tool kit. What you can do with this is, instead of cutting like a little cross in your carpeting to put your bolts through, once you punch a hole, you can use this to open it up and singe it so you don't like fray or cause a run in your carpet. The last thing you want to do is have one of your screws or bolts to catch your carpet while you're tightening it in. Man, it can create a run in your carpet and just totally trash it, so you got to be really careful. Then we have a heat gun. This we can use to apply heat to the back side of the carpeting, try to get any wrinkles out while we're working it into shape. Now to finish off the carpet and seat belt installation, there's these little trim rings for your front belts at the retractor, and these are pretty scuffed up. And I'm just going to actually sand them down with a Scotch-Brite pad, then use the SEM plastic adhesion promoter, and then use the color coat, get some red on there. So just redo these, clean them up, and I'm going to do this while I'm working on the carpet so it can sit up and dry. So the first thing I trimmed out was the rear seat anchors, so just trim those out and making sure everything's sitting nice and flush. Again, you want to work from the center out, and the next weld I want to do is start putting the holes in for the front seat buckles up on the tunnel. Okay, so now that the seat is trimmed out for the rear bench hooks, like I said, I'm working on the seat belt holes on the tunnel. I already did the other one, so with just kind of working my hand underneath the carpet to find the hole, and then use my little poker to find the center of the hole. Making sure all the carpet is laying down nice and flat where you want it, and it's really important to get it in position, because once you start making this hole, right, you're pretty much committed. So you want to find the center of it. Now I'm just going to open it up a little bit with my utility knife. Kind of do the cross pattern, and then again come back here and find it again. Open it up a little bit. Now I'm going to come in with wood burning tool. Try not to burn myself. Kind of stinks. Kind of put the hole in there, but man, it worked great on the other side. And real quick, let me go grab a bolt. Let's see if that was enough. There you go. Now it passes right through. And that hole might look excessive big, but gosh, once you put on your seat belts and that little rubber cover, man, you're never going to see it, right? So nice. Now I have the carpet really located. I'm going to use the heat gun and try to get like the corners really. Got the rear holes burned in, so bolts slide right through. Got these all cut and trimmed out for the front retractors. And for the edges, you really want it at the very top of the pinch weld here of the jam, so it's really where you want it. Anything higher can bulk it up, anything lower can possibly be exposed. So yeah, so these were really wide. I ended up, hard to see, but these were probably ended up taking probably 3 inches or so off the edge, and cut this out and took a couple inches off up here. And yeah, I didn't trim the back edge at all. Didn't have to do that. I mean, you could if you wanted to, probably a couple inches, but it's fine. So yeah, it's sitting pretty good. All right, so I have the front carpet thrown up here. The first thing I noticed was that, man, it's really long up in the front. I just took off about 3 or so inches, and I'm just trying to slide up as far as I can. It's already hitting, you can see, like the pedal mount, but here's the corner of the transmission hump in the carpet. It's still probably 4 inches away, so I gotta slide this thing up. So now I have room on the passenger footwell up front, but it's already hitting the bottom of the heater box at the top of the tunnel, so I'm gonna trim some off at just at the top of the tunnel, and then around basically the gas pedal, kind of maybe cut a little U shape out so it can slide up, and around the clutch pedal or the clutch rod. So then hopefully I can get 3 to 4 more inches forward. I gotta go. Man, it's a pain. Well, it's pretty much all trimmed except for the front edge of the front carpet. I took the front out so many times, in and out, trying to trim up the front length. It was so long. Unbelievable. And then trying to get it trimmed out just right for the shifter. What a pain. But I had to take the shifter out, obviously, and then re-bolt it back and trim the hole. And I just have some temporary bolts here kind of holding it in place. And once it's all secured, I'm going to get that to form a little better. But next step now is I'm going to get the seat belts bolted in, and then the rear seat, and then the front seats, and then I'm going to trim this front edge very last, and then I'll put the front kick panels in. So just want to try to make sure it's all exactly where it's going to go. And my little heat tool worked out great for punching little holes in the carpet, and that worked out good. These came out pretty nice for being used and whatnot. Could use new screws maybe in the future, but yeah, looks so much better than what it was. Big, huge improvement. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, now that the carpet is in and mostly trimmed, I want to bolt in the front seat belts. And this is what I've been missing, right? The passenger side and the front both had a single, like a rear belt used, and the one on the passenger side, the spring was broken. Now you don't have a lot of options when it comes to finding replacement belts. You can either find used, or companies do sell reproductions, but they're okay, but they're super expensive. Well, I contacted Bill Edwards, and if you Google him, you'll find he's got a website where he actually makes them, and he stamps them all and coats them, gosh, and uses the correct factory webbing material. These are super nice, and these front buckles are the ones that Bill made for me. It took a while to get. He had some health issues this summer, so it took quite a while, but once he got everything sorted out with himself, I was able to get these front buckles, which I did not have. So these are really nice, right? So you have 2 per side, one for your lap belt and one for your shoulder belt. So, and these are really, really impressive work that he made. So nice job, Bill. I definitely appreciate it. So this was a big help. Again, I couldn't find any used ones for the front, and I didn't want to pay like $500 for these reproductions they have, but yeah, these turned out great. I was also missing these little covers, so they cover the latches and the bolts where they bolt to the transmission tunnel, and got these from Roseville Moparts. I get a lot of stuff from those guys, man. So John and Dave over there, great guys. They have a great stock and really quick shipping. So I'm gonna get these bolted in and then figure out what I want to do next. I'm just trying to get the carpet all secured with anything that bolts down that I can. before I do my final trimming by the door sill. So, alright, so I just ran into my first issue. Took me a little while to get the passenger side buckles bolted in. Was able to do it, but what I found is with that thicker rubber backing on the carpeting, once I have this bolt through, it wasn't quite enough threads really on this bolt to get it started and bolted in, because you know there's a good amount of rubber padding on that carpet. What I ended up doing is I ended up putting these ends in my vise, put a little bend in them, you know, a few degrees there so they would sit flush, so it would just close that gap up and give me just a little bit more room so I could, and I still had to push it really hard to get a couple threads to bite, and then I could turn it and bolt it in. But yeah, not a lot of room in those bolts for the extra thicker carpeting, so I'll show you how that looks once it's done. Alright, so now with a little bend in there, these will sit flush and give me that extra clearance I need to get that extra thread or two started so I can get that shoulder bolt mounted. Alright, front buckles are a success. Bolted in, looking nice. Just, you know, make sure you get these angled right, as if you're going to be sitting in the car. You want them pointing straight forward, and then you'll have a kind of kink in your belts, right? So make sure you're having facing these out while you bolt them in, because you could, in theory, bolt these the wrong way, and then you got a little twist in your belts. You don't want that. So looking good. All right, so I have the rear quarter panel trim in, and now it's time for the rear belts. Now these are, like I mentioned, these are actually original belts. You can see how they look compared to the one that Bill made, but this one's the worst of them all. It's a little crusty, but not too bad. I wiped them all up with some vinyl leather rubber cleaner. Mother's stuff is a pretty good interior cleaner. I like it, but yeah, just give them a quick wipe down, and I'm gonna get these bolted in. Alright, getting closer. Rear seats in, cleaned it up, and got the belts in, obviously. Got the crank arms in. I really wanted to replace the seat covers, but just wasn't in the budget right now. These have been dyed, and they're just super dry. I have a feeling if I have anybody sit back here, they're probably gonna just tear up because they're so dry. But anyway, it's looking pretty good considering. Now we're gonna move on to the front seats. Alright, seats are in. Front kick panels are in. Just trimmed up the edge of the carpet. So one thing that's left now is to put in my door sill plates. And mine were pretty beat up, so there's no better way, man, to really make a good statement too in the interior with new door sill plates and carpet. So these are looking good. Again, Rolesville Mopars. That's where I got these from. So, as well as some new hardware for them as well. So let's get them in and get it done. Well, finally, what we're done, just gonna get new door sill plates are on. Man, that really makes a big difference. Carpet's looking nice, gave it a nice fresh vacuum. Like I said, down the road I'll redo the seats, but they'll work for now. Got me some proper seat belts. Plenty to choose from. Got 4 up here, so yeah. Yeah, carpet turned out really great. Really happy with it. Took a lot of time, you know, trimming out the shifter boot, putting a new boot in and bezel and trim ring, and that looks nice. So very cool. Now, not quite done though. One more little thing I want to add to it to help protect the carpet. When I ordered it, I got the matching red floor mats from ACC as well. I didn't get them engraved, I just wanted them plain red. Alright, a couple little details I've been wanting to add to the engine bay is these 2 stickers. So I'm going to go throw those on as well right now. Before I put those on, I always give it a quick wipe with the wax and grease remover, so I make sure you get some good adhesion. This stuff is great. And it normally goes like right in between, these holes up here and the radiator support. So these little details are cool, even though the car is not stock. I just like this stuff. Fun. I had some comments in some of the other videos, like, wait, where's the fender tag? Well, I did put it on finally after I repainted the engine bay, so it's on the car now. And if you guys are interested, let me know in some comments. Like, thought about doing a video maybe this winter about going over the fender tag itself and its options that are on the car. No, I think I am going to cover that whole hole. Quick, last minute decision. Oh man. Alright, so what I wanted to do was build basically a little overflow can for the car, and typical what a lot of guys will do is just take the windshield washer bottle, because these cars originally just had a hose running parallel to the radiator straight down to the ground, and it would just dump on the ground. Well, I don't want to do that. Plus, if you ever go to a drag strip, you got to have a catch can or an overflow can. So I bought this washer bottle, and I'm not going to run squirters on the car, and I just put a little plug on the bottom. Then I drilled a hole in the cap and put an O-ring, or I should say a grommet, so I can slide my hose over there, so right through it. So be a nice clean install. Should look pretty good. Trying to figure out where this all goes. And then, you know, the holes are already preset and drilled, so it's all good there. Bottom one's a little hard to get to with the horns in, but we got it, we got it. The only downside with this setup here is it's not a very big overflow, but you know, hopefully I'll never need it. And if you are having issues, I could always pull that vacuum plug off the bottom of it, just so I don't, again, trying to keep antifreeze out of the engine bay. That's really going to be the main thing, right? It's a little better hose than just your standard like vacuum or whatnot, so it's going to be a little stronger. So now I just want to try to get a clean routing here to a radiator. Alright, so let's see how this looks now. It's not bad. Just pulled my grommet out. Biscuits. Alright, yeah, I just don't want it to be real sloppy. I want it to be nice and tight and not loose in the engine bay. That'll work for now. So here's the carpeting with floor mats all finished, wrapped up, looking nice. New belts, updated belts, new shifter boot, new door sill plates. Man, well, looks so much better. Have my new overflow can. Couple cool stickers, all finished, wrapped up, looking nice. I always leave a battery tender on the car if I don't drive it for a couple days. If you're wondering, looking good. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, leave them comments in below. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, hit the like button. Sure would appreciate it. In the next video, I promise we're taking the car for a ride. You don't want to miss it.